Hello, hello, hello. It's your boy. We got the YS, got Mike. We just finished watching some tournament games. There's some NBA. You know what? There's actually an NBA conversation I want to mention before we even talk about the main topic. But before I say that, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. This is the DM podcast where today's topic is about Vince Carter. I have, of course, my boy YS. How's everything going?
Every day above ground. How about you?
I'm good. These NCAA tournaments killed my bracket, if I'm
Uh,
honest, right?
whoever is going to get a perfect bracket? Has
They
there
say
anyone
it's
got a perfect
impossible.
bracket? Yeah,
They say it's more likely for you to win the lottery than get a perfect
100%.
bracket.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I'm assuming you'd have to make like over a million different type of like odds. I don't know what the math is, but the math to get all 64 teams correct, then you have to like no, it's the math of it would be too much. Like almost probably like almost 6 billion odds you'd have to make that bracket.
Yeah.
Uh, well, before we talk about Vince Carter, I wanted to mention a team that you were a fan of in the beginning of the year. You mentioned them in our preseason, and the reason I want to mention them is because I just seen the Golden State Warriors just lost to the Indiana Pacers. They just lost to them.
Okay.
Now, in saying that they just lost to them, they're 36 and 33. The Houston Rockets is a team that you brought up a lot. The team that you've definitely mentioned, and they're 34 and 35. Now those two teams have to go against each other, and the Warriors have to face like Minnesota. They have to face Dallas a couple of times. Their road isn't easy, and you see the way Golden State is. Some games is good, some they're hot and cold. They beat the bad teams, and they definitely lose to to the good teams. There's a chance. There's a chance that Houston may, and Houston goes to face one more time on April 4th. But there's a slight chance that Houston could overtake Golden State. If Golden State goes on like a losing streak and then Houston goes on a winning streak, like you need both things to happen. But
Yeah.
just looking at it, like me and you were talking about before the cameras rolled, like about Dallas. I don't. Dallas is going to be on a streak soon because they don't want to be in the play-in. There's a chance Golden State doesn't make it to the play-in and Houston makes it. So I have a two-part question for you. What is it going to be like for Houston to overtake Golden State? Or what is it like for Golden State to lose that spot and basically be out of the playoffs?
Well, what we're seeing right now in the NBA, especially with those two teams, is a transition. Especially with G State. Like G State is transitioning to a different G State than what we're used to the last, well, let's say a decade, right? Former
Right,
2014, right?
right.
So with that being said, Clay declined. Curry's still doing Curry things, right? Draymond up and down. Emergence of Kaminga, the decline of Wiggins, it seems like. Wiggins hasn't been really the same Wiggins, right?
Right.
Kaminga has really elevated this game. I love what I'm seeing from Kaminga. He's playing real aggressive, but they're gonna need more than that. You know what I mean? What's his name, that guard, the lefty? I forget his name.
Pawns. Let's just call him Pawns.
Pons, yeah, Pons. He's showing bright spots, right?
Yeah, I like him.
I mean, but he needs to still get more accustomed to NBA play, you know what I mean, and
Right.
getting those minutes, especially if they were to go to the playoffs. But Houston now, Houston.
It's a team that you talked about. It's a team that you generally like. You get them even like being where they are. If they don't make the playoffs, it's fine. I never thought they'd be this good. Never thought they'd be this good. They're like borderline a 500 team.
I knew they would be this good, right? I knew they'd be this good, right? Udoka is a fucking elite coach, and he
Yes.
commands respect, right? And he
Yes.
commands the work ethic out of his guys, and they got those young guys over there in Houston playing with heart. And Seagun is not even in the lineup.
Yeah. And then to before you even continue, in the last 10 games, Golden State's 4-6. The Houston Rockets are 9-1 in the last 10 games, and they're winners of seven straight.
Houston won seven straight.
Yeah. And they're 9-1
This is the
in
Houston
the
Rockets,
last
not the
10.
G League team. Houston Rockets.
Right. This is Houston Rockets because ever since Sengun's gone, Jalen Green has been playing exceptional. Fred is steady. Like Dylan Brooks is he brings him a lot. Like even though he has a lot of characteristics.
We
He
haven't been
brings
hearing about him a lot this season in the sense of
you
his
haven't. You
characteristics,
haven't. You're correct.
right?
Yeah, yeah, he got into a fight with DeMar, but like DeMar like legit hacked Jalen Green. I can see why it happened. I can definitely see why it happened. So it's yeah, yeah, sorry, continue. I just want to also add that the last 10 games.
Yeah, well, G State, they're not the same G State. Getting back, they're not the same. And everyone in the NBA, all the teams, I should say, you can tell how they're playing against and they feel that way. You know what I mean? These guys are not the dynasty warriors that we're used to. They're a good
Right.
team. They're a decent team, but they're not no dynasty warriors that we're used to. There's no switch. Before, we would all say, oh, they're going to turn it on in the fourth. They're going to turn on in the fourth. There's no more switch. There's no more
There
switch.
isn't. And the thing with the Western Conference, we'll probably talk about it in our pod, but real quick, Brandon Ingram is out for like potentially 2 weeks plus. So pretty much the end of the season he's out for. So that's gonna be pretty hard for them. So potentially there's a potential Dallas climb because they're 7-3 in the last 10, but they've been pretty good for the last stretch. I think we've seen an uptick in their game. Kyrie's played better, so has
Yeah,
Luca.
yes,
So
Kyrie's dunking this season. I'm like, where does this come from? Where does
like
it come from?
yeah, they're playing a lot better. And then maybe Dallas can climb up. Maybe the Pelicans drop without having Brandon Ingram because they're a deep team, but they still rely on Zion and Brandon Ingram to do their thing. So we're gonna have to wait and see. As I say that, they did crush the Miami Heat today. The Pelicans crushed Miami. So maybe they'll be fine.
I wonder who's in the
Overall.
Heat's lineup though. Did they have everyone playing? I didn't see the game.
Uh they had Patty Mills starting, which crazy. They had Patty Mills, but they had Bam and Jimmy. They had Bam and Jimmy, but
But
the
no
Heat,
hero, right? No
no
hero.
hero. But
Okay.
the Heat are one of the laziest teams in the regular season. It's factual. They're just lazy in the regular season. I don't know what happened, but they're just a lazy team. So, but yeah, I just think like things can change in the Western Conference that like Golden State can be out of there because Dallas is going to try to make it to that fifth. You know how Luca feels about the Clippers.
Oh
He
man.
feels like he can beat them.
Yep. Yep. And you know how Luca feels about the Phoenix Suns. He knows that
Right,
he's Booker's father.
right, right. He
So,
should. He
so
he's killed them both. So like, I don't know. I think that the Western Conference is about to like really heat up. The Eastern Conference will not heat up. I
no,
think like
no, it won't. It won't. It's gonna
I
be
think
entertaining though. It's gonna be entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be entertaining.
I think this. I always want playoffs. Like I hate sweeps. I don't even like 5 game series. I want like 6 to 7 game series. I want 7 games, of course. I think we all want 7 games, but I generally want to see 7 game series. Like if it ended now, right? It'd be Boston Philadelphia, which I think is going to be regardless. I think it will be Boston Philadelphia, the 1-8 matchup. If Embiid is back and he's like if he can be 75% of himself, that's a good chunk. Even though Al Horford has kind of defended
That's
him
a
well.
hard out though. Like shit.
Yeah. It's a tough one because they can't compete with them offensively, but I think it'll be like that's a 5 game for sure, maybe a 6 game series. Then you got Milwaukee, Miami. Uh-oh. I don't know. That's a
That's
everyone
what
got
happened a couple years ago, right? So,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
know that left a bad taste in Giannis's mouth. Bad taste.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because I truly think whoever wins that, this may sound crazy, will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals because the 2-7 faces the 3-6, and the 3-6 looks like it's going to be like a Cleveland and Indiana. And if it's Cleveland, Indiana, like I'm going to root for Indiana because there's Pascal. So I'm easily going to root for
I'm going
Indiana.
for Indiana still. Cleveland to me, like they're nice, they're a good team, but I'd rather Indiana to me is a more entertaining team to watch.
Yeah. I think that can go like a 6-7 game for
I
sure.
love Halliburton. I love that guy. Like
Yeah.
Mitchell's nice, but I like Mitchell better than I like Halliburton better than Mitchell. That's just what it
And,
is.
and then we got Orlando versus New York, which honestly, that's gonna be they call it like the NBA TV game because no one's gonna watch it, and it's gonna be like 93, 94 games. Like it's gonna be some old because the two top defensive teams barely gonna score a lot of points. There's a lot of hard-nosed defense. That's
That
what I
could
think
be actually entertaining series to
it
watch.
could be.
You know what I mean? Because I do like the young squads. Like the thing with playoffs, I love watching all the young squads in the playoffs,
Yeah.
right?
I think Orlando will the thing is like is it me or Orlando's kind of boring.
Like I get it. Like Franz Wagner is not sexy scoring the
Yeah,
ball, but he puts it at the ball in net. Like it's not sexy or
it,
anything. Like
Yeah. There's nothing sexy about them. They just play tough defense. There's legit nothing sexy about it. But I'm once again, all I care about really is like 7 game series. I just don't want to see sweeps. Like I don't want to see that. I've always been a person who's jealous of like the NHL playoffs because it doesn't matter if it's a 1-8 matchup. Niggas go seven all
yeah,
the time.
it's crazy. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they generally go seven all the time. And I'm like jealous of that shit. Like I would like that. It just shows that it's hard and it's competitive and people are competing and they're not like, okay, we're about to get like LeBron to it or something. I don't know. I kind of generally enjoy that.
yeah. It's in NHL though. It's like they go at lines, so
Right.
you can't dominate like how a
Right.
star like Luca can dominate a game. NHL, you can't dominate like that, right? So
Yeah, you can. And even to go to the Western Conference, if everything stand put, Oklahoma versus Sacramento would be so exciting.
very,
That would be
very.
like that would probably go 6, 7 games. That'd be hella exciting.
Malik Monk
And
would probably going off too. That'd be nice. The Nuggets against the Suns.
that would be You- the thing with the Nuggets, when is the fourth quarter? These guys just know how to win. So, but Denver, I mean, Phoenix played them really hard, and like if you have multiple scores, you can go back and forth with Denver. That's like a 6 game series.
And they both don't have a
Um,
good bench, in my opinion.
they
So
don't, they don't. Yeah, Denver does. To me, I don't think Denver has a good bench. Like I like, Watson and everything,
that's
but
it.
I don't know. Like they're so lucky that their starting five is just so elite, like incredibly elite. So like it makes it a huge difference for everything that they do. It's like a big difference. Then there's Minnesota and Dallas, which I don't. That is either going to be, Luca's just showing his ass, or it's going to be, Anthony Edwards showing the world that he's here.
Both, both.
Legit. I
That's
think,
gonna be
yeah,
a very, if that were to happen, that's gonna be one of the most entertaining series.
yeah.
Because
The
Ant-Man
West
is
just has
upgraded.
entertaining series. The West has so much like
Yeah,
even the Clippers and Pelicans could be entertaining. That could be entertaining
you're
because the
right.
Clippers don't always show up,
Clearly,
right?
they're cursed. I feel. I feel they're cursed.
Yeah, they don't always show up. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think the playoffs could be good. But that was just our quick NBA talk. We will have more to discuss on our podcast about the way everything's looking, especially that Houston Rockets Golden State. I feel like Golden State's I don't know how it happened. Golden State is the team that I think I've talked about more than any squad this season. Like out of all the squads this season, I've talked about Golden State like the most. I don't know why. I don't know what it was with Golden State this year. Maybe the end of the dynasty, like you said. Maybe that's why.
The end. It's the end.
It's legit. But we're here to talk about Vincent Lamar Carter.
Shout
That's
out.
who we're here to talk about. The man that honestly made a lot of basketball fans in Toronto. The reason why I want to talk about a few weeks ago, is because like, he's probably gonna go to the Hall of Fame this year with like a Chauncey Billups, like Mr. Big Shot. And Vince Carter just had a legacy, here. He, in my opinion, is the greatest rap, not the great, is he the greatest raptor of all time? Probably. Like, I just don't want to say it's Kyle because I think saying it's Kyle is kind of like I don't even know what the word to use, but I think it's kind of lazy. Like it's a lazy thing
He
to just say.
continued the trend. He continued the trend, Kyle. You see what
Right. And Kyle stayed like he's here, he won a title with us. So we're like, oh, he's the greatest Raptor of all time. But ultimately, like I don't know. I think sometimes you gotta put like Magic is the greatest Laker of all time because not only did he win, it's like what he did for the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? There's more to it.
Showtime brought Showtime.
Right. Like he
Great.
he
right?
He's a staple. He's a staple to what has made them what they are today. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would consider, Vince Carter to be the number one guy. I think he's just number one. Yeah, the way he left wasn't great.
Mm-mm.
Horrible, some would say. There's multiple reports that he at one point was like, okay, I'm willing to stay, then got traded last week, like the next week. And we didn't get anything for him. We got like a bag of potato chips for like a top 12 man at the time, and Vince Carter. In some cases, I think this guy was like probably top three. And I think about
The highest point, yeah, he was top
right.
three.
It was like
Mm.
probably Shaq, then probably somebody else, and then like Vince or sorry, Shaq Iverson, probably Vince
Yes,
at the
yes,
time. And like in the movie Like Mike, they don't make it to the finals unless they go through Vince Carter. So Vince Carter was somebody at the time, a lead vote getter multiple times in the All Star. Like he was someone like that really changed like what we saw in like in NBA. Like we didn't know about it like this. Like he made us know. I remember, I think someone said it and it's true. Back in the day, like when you were watching games, it was like a family watching a game. Like I
yes.
remember watching that All-Star where he like the dunk contest with my
Let's dunk off.
family, right, like with my cousins all around watching this guy put on a highlight reel. Like this guy was somebody. This guy changed the culture. Reasons why like Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph, Andrew Wiggins are all like we're all there for that golden era of ball was because of this guy.
Yes.
Vince really did something. But that was just a little snippet of what I thought Vince did. Let me know what you think. Like, how was Vince Carter for you?
And I remember growing up, and I would be going to the Raptor games when they were playing the Sky Dome, right?
Hmm.
Seeing Mighty Mouse, right? Mighty Mouse and the boys, right? But then after that, Mighty Mouse ended. It ended badly. He went over to Portland. He didn't want to be here. Went over to
Yeah,
Portland. Whatever. Raptors. There was a void. Like who was going to be that next star? Right.
yeah,
We had McGrady, but he was young at the time, like out of high school, so he was just figuring shit
very
out.
young.
Right.
Yeah,
Then Vince came a couple of years. I mean, was it a year or two after
year
Stoudemire left?
the year after.
A year after, right? 98, 99 draft. T Mac was there previous the year before.
Yeah,
So he has 1 year. So when they both came on the squad, when VC came on the squad with T Mac, T Mac upped his points a little bit to like 15. VC, I believe, was getting what, like 18 in his rookie season, right?
yeah.
And we all know what happened in rookie season. Excitement. There has never been that much excitement around ball in Toronto for the Raptors, aside from Vince and the Kawhi.
Yeah,
Kawhi, Lowry, championship run, Fred championship run, right? He put basketball on the map in Canada,
he
period.
did
Right? There was Vancouver Grizzlies at the time, but because of Vince is the reason why we stayed.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? Period. He was so electric. He made and one popular. Everyone wanted and ones.
Yeah,
He was in music videos, right? He went to Nike and got the shots boing, boing.
right.
Like he was an icon at the time, right? A basketball icon. Like you couldn't go anywhere else. So hey Vince, right? And on top of that, one of the, if not the greatest dunker in NBA history.
Top three probably. Top two if anything.
Every time Raptors would like, it's crazy. Those days, he could go to the Clippers, right? For example, play against the Clippers in Los Angeles, stadium's full. And this is
Yep.
2000. Who was on Clippers in 2000? Darius Miles, Jeff
Right.
McKinnon, Corey McGrady, right? Bunch of high school guys, right?
Yeah.
It was exciting times still.
I
It was a
think
good
you said it, and I'm gonna piggyback on it, and I think I was gonna say it. It's never been as exciting. Like the championship was exciting because we won a title, but I don't think Raptors ball has ever been like. Yeah, I know the We the North era was big. It was huge. We like at the time, but like that Vince Carter hype, like people wanted to see Toronto. I don't think people has ever. I don't think it's ever matched it at that time. I don't think we've ever had a star that's matched that Vince Carter time. That people generally were like, let's put Vince Carter on prime time.
Yes,
Let's put the Raptors on Christmas Day. Like this team is somebody, a team that I want to watch. Like that's never happened to us. We had it with Vince Carter.
we definitely did. I don't even feel like we had it with Kawhi in the sense like
We
where
didn't.
people wanted to see Raptors or Kawhi's playing for Raptors. Like if they were Minnesota, were people showing up to Minnesota to
Right.
watch Kawhi and the Raptors? If it was 2000 Vince Carter going to
Yeah.
Minnesota to play, they're
Yeah.
going to see Vince. He just brought that energy.
He did. He like he was one of the faces of the league, right? I think is it's the same thing that me and you talked about it even in our past pod, and I was saying to you before, like the league is about to go through a transition. That's why the league is so scared right now. It's going through a transition, and at that time, it was going through a transition then too because Jordan was gone, so they had to find the next person. Who is the next guy? We like that big guy in LA. We like him too. That guard that he plays with in LA has a little bit of swag. We'll watch over him. That guy in Philly with the tattoos, we like him.
My guy.
Has a little bit of attitude though. We need someone a little different. Yo, this Toronto guy's he's something. Let's keep watching that guy. Like they were trying to figure out who the face of the league was. It was all these mans they were bringing up. Like, and it was supposed to be multiple guys. Like Joe Smith could have been like at the time when they wanted him. You know what I'm saying? Like Uma Candy could have been Kenyon Martin. All these people.
That guy,
Like
he played on a squad with Katie and Russell Westbrook, OKC,
at the
and
end of his career, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. He
holy
he
shit,
played he played multiple years, like underratedly played multiple years.
yeah.
Like he yeah, like Vince Carter was he was legit like the face of the league type. Like he was that electric. He was making people want to watch him. Like the way people talking about like an Anthony Edwards
Yeah.
or like that's where way people were
Or
talking about Vince
Curry,
Carter.
yeah.
Yeah, like legit. He was like the Steph
He
Curry.
wasn't the best player in the league, but he was
Yeah.
always the most popular player in the league for like a couple of years. Definitely.
Right.
From like
Right.
99, 2000, 2001, 2002, he was the most popular player in the NBA. Period.
Easily.
Period.
Easily. Like, yeah, Iverson was doing his thing and blah blah blah. But people were looking at like Katie's favorite team as a kid was Toronto because of Vince Carter. Like
Because
this
of
guy was really the face, man. This is why like that's why I truly think we can say Vince that Kyle Lowry is the face of Toronto. He's the number one guy. Yo, it's really Vince, right? It's really Vince.
because he was the person that started it. The person that
Hey,
starts is
right.
usually what we're going to look. Okay, the pioneer. Vince is the pioneer, right?
It- it's just the way Vince left, you know? Vince left horribly. Like he left horribly. The man, some people will say that he quit on the team.
Yes, that was the word, right? He's not trying and whatnot, and
Right.
fuck.
Right. So like,
Shipped over to New Jersey, and then he starts throwing down windmills and dropping beer points, and like, where?
his New Jersey run was crazy.
Yeah,
His New
yeah.
Jersey one was his New Jersey and his Orlando run were crazy. But the thing is he fell off. Like when he left, like he fell off. I think his stats may have been so his last great
Years
stat
after New
was
Jersey, like I feel like after he left New Jersey is when it was like, okay,
so he was something I look at his stats, I'm like, yo, man's were really averaging 27 points a game. Like he was doing that. Okay, so he goes to yeah, New Jersey was still good. He was an all-star. He stopped being an all-star at the age of 30. And he was averaging at the time 25 points. Then he went down to 21, 20, 16. Yeah, it was more like his New Jersey years were good. His Orlando was actually not that great, but like still good, still quality numbers, still averaging 16 points a game. Not like it's trash. Um, but his definitely his New Jersey run was second best to his Toronto run. Probably better. Probably New Jersey run was probably better than his Toronto run. Just
yeah,
because of the
yeah.
longevity of being at his peak. So
They had a little squad over there with in Jersey still. Jefferson, Kid. Did they have Kittles too? Is Kittles
probably,
at the time?
probably.
I remember New Jersey had
Yeah.
Keith Van Horn. I forget what years those are. Keith Van Horn. He's supposed to be that stretch big.
Yeah. See, like so like Vince, he he had a legacy here, man. He really did. Like
Loved him.
like I said, Andrew Wiggins, Tristan Thompson, Corey, even like guys who like they're not in the league, like Melvin Edgem, Kyle Anderson, like all these guys who grew up on Canadian ball, grew up around this guy. Like, there was a start Stauskas, all these people, because they're all the same age as us,
Yeah,
or around the same age as us. So they were all watching Vince Carter as well, no matter what the age was. Like Vince Carter made it capable for like, you know what? We're gonna open one ball gym around. We're gonna start opening courts around now because of the championship, we have multiple ball courts. I would say that like that expanded us. But this guy, like you said, without this guy, we're Vancouver. We're praying for our franchise to come back.
yes. Do you remember you watched the top 10, right? You know, when you're a kid, NBA top 10. You
Right,
always could count on Vince Carter having a play if the Raptors played that night in the top five of the top 10 all the time.
right,
He was a highlight reel. Like he was the most entertaining player in the league at a time, right?
right,
And the best playoff series Toronto has ever had that they lost, keyword that they lost was against those Sixers.
right,
When him and AI were going head to head. One night he be dropped. I remember the game six, he dropped 50. Game seven, AI came back and dropped like 47, 50. They were
right.
going head to head, right? So and then went game seven and it came down to that last shot, back rim, corner three by Vince Carter, right?
We
Man,
drafted like I think organizations do this. I think they may deny it. They sometimes draft people who remind them of somebody else. We drafted DeMar DeRozan because he reminded us of Vince Carter.
a little, yeah, 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 yeah.
Because he was athletic. He was darn near the same skin complexion of the man, same height, like
Same height, yeah.
same
Mark
ability.
can
Came
dribble a
into
little
the
better
league,
though. Just Mark can dribble better than Vince Carter.
but that all grew right. The dribble, the shooting, all that stuff. Like he became a better shooter throughout his time. DeMar did, but like they came in raw, came in as pure athleticism.
Pure.
Right? Vince Carter and like people like him and like Kobe are the molds of like what all these NBA GMs basically get fired because they look at these guys and like, look at the athleticism, look at this, look at that. All we need them to get is this shot, and then sky's the limit for them. Right? Does they all fail at doing that because it's hard. I think drafting is incredibly hard, but they
Very.
all want the next athletic wing,
But when it
right?
comes to drafting, you also have to look at a guy. Is this guy going to work hard? Does he work
That's the
hard?
biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. Work ethic is huge, right? And some of these guys just don't have it. And which leads me to Vince Carter's. Okay, so the one blemish I have on Vince, besides him leaving, so two blemishes. And then it's funny that Gilbert Arenas said the same thing that I've been saying. Vince would have been better than Kobe. At one point, he was better than Kobe. He was
I agree.
easily. He was better than Kobe.
Yeah.
What made it different is that Kobe had the mentality to like be the GOAT or be whatever he wanted to be. Like he wanted to be the best player in the league. I don't think Vince came in with the same attitude. And not everyone has this. Like I think this whole mental thing that we'll say the Mamba mentality. Not everybody has it,
No.
right? I'm not sure if Jason Tatum has it. We talked about it in our last pod. I don't think he
And
has
he
it,
trained with Kobe one
right?
summer.
Like I don't think he has it. I think there's only a few guys that really have the FU mentality.
I
Like
think
Jimmy Butler,
Giannis. I think Giannis
Giannis
has it.
has it. Jimmy Butler has it. Like some guys have it. Some guys just don't have it. Anthony Davis doesn't have it.
No.
You know, we wanted him to have it for so long. He just doesn't have it. Vince just didn't have it.
Anthony
He just,
Davis mentality is I'll play today. That's his
he,
mentality. I'll play today.
even though this season he's played more than he's ever played, but
Yeah,
it,
which is true.
it's not. But like Vince should have been like he should have been seen just like Kobe. And in my true opinion, he should have been seen like Kobe, right? But he just didn't. It didn't grow. He scored the 27 points and went to 16. Kobe just kept growing each year. Each year, Kobe just kept going and going and going and going. winning the two titles with Gasol.
Yeah.
Like he just kept getting better, and I don't think Vince did. I think he plateaued at a certain point.
He did in an age, and when you hit a certain age, and it's like, okay, I'm a veteran, accept the role and whatnot, right? But Vince could shoot.
Yeah,
He had a good shot. He had athleticism, but it's
underrated 3-point shooter.
he is. Man, it was just I miss those days. I miss those days. Like, and those days when we were making a playoffs when Vince was a rookie second year, it was just entertaining. It was just
Yeah,
entertaining basketball, right? So
I think it was also back then. Like I don't think the talent, I don't think the talent from like the 2000s to like 2000 and like let's say I would say four. I don't want to diss any titles, but almost 2004. I don't think the talent was that great,
it
right? I
was
think the
it
talent
was
got better.
transitioning. It
It
was
was
transitioning.
transitioning, right? That's the thing. When you're transitioning, like the talent isn't the grades. Right now, we're in a really good talent phase. Like we have a lot of
Yeah,
talent in the league. But once again, we don't have like I think they're really trying to see who the next person is. Like you have LeBron, KD, Steph. Okay, cool. Who is like the next LeBron, KD, Steph? Like where are those guys? But I think you need to take time. I think you have guys like Anthony Edwards. You have Victor. You
yes,
you have
yes.
like a few guys that like are coming. So just to you
It's
guys just be
getting
patient. But you
foreign,
can tell
like you said. It's getting real foreign. It's getting European, right? Because if you
very
look at you named three, four guys, and out of the four, it was three of them were Luca, Giannis, Joker, right, and then Ant Man.
right,
And that's like the next or the faces right now. Is Tatum
right.
a face right now? If they win a ring,
Yeah, the thing is, until LeBron's gone, there's no face in the league. There's no other face in the league. But I think we really want to name someone the face. There's no face that's not LeBron. LeBron's the face. After LeBron, it's Steph Curry. And then it's like a steep drop off. And then it's KD. And it's a big drop off. It's not even like it's a huge drop off. I think there's no people make it seem like they're these guys are all kind of intertwined. Nah, it's LeBron is number one, Steph is number like two, and KD is all the way down. In the sense of face, he just
well,
is
trying to think. So where do you put Luca, Giannis?
even lower.
Is Kawhi on this list? So in
No,
10, face of the league.
like
Okay,
face of the league
All NBA. Name All NBA first team. Your opinion.
this year.
Yes, your opinion, obviously.
This year, it's so you can't include Embiid because they have the new rule, so you can't include him. But I think this one's pretty simple. It will go Luca, Shea, Giannis, Jokic, Tatum. That's what I would go. And then for sure, I think my second team would be Brunson. I think that guy deserves a lot of love, a lot of love. So, but yeah, like that's the thing. We're like this is we're an influx of talent. So when Vince was there wasn't an influx of talent,
Really wasn't.
right? It was him, Kobe, Shaq, like Tracy. Tracy was coming up at the time. Like these guys were coming up, but
It
even look at
was
Tracy McGrady.
Francis was kind of balling McGrady, right?
Like, would you say Tracy McGrady? I think when it comes to legacy, Vince has a better legacy. Forget Toronto now. Vince just has a better legacy. But Tracy was the better player, right?
He was. Overall, Tracy was in their prime. We're talking prime. Vince was more athletic and
Right,
exciting.
right,
We're talking about overall skill set. It's McGrady. McGrady was longer. He had better. He had a little bit. He had a better shot. He had better handles. Right. He could
right,
play. He was a perfected three-level scorer.
right.
McGrady. Carter could
And
score, but he wasn't a perfected three-level scorer.
see, and the crazy thing about all that is that like Vince, once again at his peak, was better, right? No, sorry. Tracy was better at his peak, but Vince at that 2000 time, like his obviously popularity, his popularity is better than Tracy McGrady's popularity.
Way higher.
So like that's going back to his like he should have been with Kobe as like, okay, Jordan's gone, we're here, and then it leads me to like say like it was really hard to build at the time, but do I think they could have built a better team around Vince Carter? Yeah, they could have
100%.
done a better job.
Was it Grunwald at the time?
Do I think Vince could have waited for Bosch to get to his body too? I think he could have waited. I think he could have waited because he was still good until he's 30, which was age, I mean, which was year 08, 09. So at the time, 08, 09, that's when Bosch is averaging 20 and 10. So you're telling me, especially in that time, you only needed two mans back
Yeah,
then with a
yeah.
bunch of role players. You could have had Bosch be the number one with Vince be the number two, and then have a bunch of solid role players around him,
And that,
right?
because those days everyone was it was either, for example, Milwaukee was like Ray Allen, the big dog, Len Robinson, right?
Right.
Seattle, Kemp, Peyton, right? So
Right.
it's like they had just two guys. There was no
You got
super.
two guys. And at that time, like, look at Orlando. At the time, it was just Dwight and like Jameer Nelson, Hugh Turkoglu, Michael Petras. These are all like
Was
B or
Reddick on the
C
squad those days too? Was Reddick?
probably, but I don't think Redick was getting minutes like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he
This
was
is
getting
Stan
minutes,
Van
but nothing
Gundy.
like
This is
crazy.
Stan Van Gundy team too.
Exactly. Right. So like I don't know. I just think Vince could have been more. But even him being more, I think we can both agree the time that he was, our GOAT, he was a GOAT,
He was electric.
right? We booed him for a while. Like
Because
we
you feel
booed
like he
that man
wasn't
for
playing with effort. It was like, really?
but even when he came back, we booed him for so long.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
It was
I
only
remember
when
he had
with the
like a
Grizzlies.
couple game winners on us and shit when he was in New Jersey.
To me, it was I still consider it the best game I've ever watched in my life. Like that Vince Carter versus Toronto. It went to like double overtime or whatever, and Vince hit that like game winner. I'm like, that's for the booing him, right? I feel like every time we boo someone, it never works out for us. So why are we booing people sometimes? But he like nah, he was electric, and when he put on, he put on. He put on. He just no one likes the way he laughs. He got booed a lot of time, but now when he comes, he gets cheered. I think should get cheered even more. The way that we should generally, I get it. You want to retire Kyle's jersey first, but do I think Vince Carter's jersey should be retired? Yes. What do
100%.
you
I
think?
want to talk Kyle's jersey first. Okay. I like Kyle still. I can't lie.
Yeah,
I love Kyle, but the impact Vince had,
it's crazy.
you know what I mean? And this was pre-social media era.
It's
This is just
crazy.
word of mouth, like you're going on MSN maybe, you're on the house phone those days. Because this is, you don't forget, this is 90, this is 99, 2000, right?
If we had a Vince Carter now, the way we treat Scotty Barnes, we'd be treating Vince Carter way better.
Beyond, beyond.
Way better. We'd be like, we're
Because
not trading anyone. We're
Barnes
making
is
sure
in
Vince
his
Carter
third
has
season
everybody. Yes.
and he's doing okay. Vince in his third season was, holy shit. Yeah.
He made us believe like that we were gonna win the title.
Yeah. Like we
It's
did
just
not sniff
no,
playoff
we didn't sniff it, but
before
he
Vince
made us
came.
believe it.
Yeah, yeah.
He generally made us believe it. What are some of your final thoughts about Vince Carter?
Man, honestly, when he retires jersey, right? Period.
Yeah.
A statue.
I don't think anyone deserves a statue. I don't think anyone in Toronto's done anything that like if Kawhi stayed, he would be the only person I think would deserve a statue. But I don't think anyone. I think like these things, let's not just throw them at everybody. Let's give it to the people who've like done something. Like we're gonna give it to
Jordan
Kyle.
deserves a statue. Dirk deserves a statue.
Yeah, someone like that. Like
You played 20 years for a squad and bring rings. Like, okay, that deserves. So if Giannis retires,
if he retires today, he should get a
you
statue.
get a statue. So, okay, to elaborate on this then, who who is the greatest Buck?
It's Giannis.
It's not Kareem or Lou
No,
Alcindor.
no, it's Giannis.
It's not. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely Giannis. See, this is like greatest buck has to be impact as well, right? Like, if it's not Giannis, it's Oscar Robinson, and then I'll say it's Kareem, right? Yeah, it's
Oscar in
about
the ring
impact.
with these guys? With the
Yeah, like
Bucks?
yeah, because that's what he wanted with Kareem that time.
Okay. Okay.
So like
Wow.
to me, it's about like impact on what that player like does for you as a whole. It may be blasphemy to say that. Mind you, Kareem is like my second best player of all time. Like I think that is it's a different. I think Kareem is the best basketball player of all time. Like the best basketball player. Like forget NBA, like no, sorry, include NBA, include college, include high school. Kareem's the best because he won at all levels, right? They had to change the dunking rule because of the guy. Like they changed rules because of this man. So I do think like he's the best player. But when it comes to like certain things, like Russell Westbrook is OKC's like guy. That like he's the number one guy. KD was the best player that's ever played for them, but Russell Westbrook is the franchise guy. He's the guy who stayed. He's the guy who worked the hardest and got his MVP there. Even though KD got his MVP too, it's a Russ thing, right? So it's always gonna be like there's always be somebody, right? Like the argument could be who's greater, Dwight Orlando or Shaq Orlando. Shaq Orlando did his thing, but Dwight Orlando like he put the team back on his back, right? Shaq did too. I think that one could be a toss up.
It's not a toss up to me. It's Shaq.
Yeah, see, some people even say like Grant Hill did his thing, right? Like
Grant
there's
Hill,
always gonna be somebody.
the
Right? That's
injury.
why I think Vince is that guy for Toronto. Like, great, Kyle did a bunch of things, but let's not forget that Kyle was waiting for San Antonio to sign him, and San Antonio said no to him. Like, he wanted to leave on his second stint where he re-signed with Toronto. He wanted to leave to a contender. They just didn't want him. So, as much
Wow.
as I can say thank Kyle, whatever, like I'm not gonna ever. I don't forget that the man wanted to leave Toronto
But a lot of guys like Kobe, RIP, wanted to leave LA at one time. He demanded a trade,
because I think the way they were moving was funny,
right?
right? Kyle just wanted to leave because it was like that time. Just leave because that time. But yeah, like my final thoughts about Vince Carter is that once again he's the GOAT Raptor. Like all things aside, yeah, like I like Kyle, blah blah blah. I was always kind of more of a DeMar fan, but like this guy Vince like really made us fall in love with basketball, and he made us continue loving basketball, and that's what matters. Not only do we fall in love with it, but we continue loving it to the point where we're like we love the Raptors. Like he made us love the Raptors. Even being in Toronto, he made us love the Raptors. Right? He was the face at one point. I think that means a lot. It means a
He
lot, a
was
lot.
the face, man. Shit.
Yeah,
Vancouver, they got Michael Dickerson at the time. They got Big Country.
yeah,
And they
they
were
did.
all right at the time. Michael Dixon was all right at the time. Still, Big Country was he was okay,
Yeah,
right?
those guys are good still. Yeah, but yeah, that is our Vince Carter podcast. We wanted to bring up, in our estimation, a legend in Toronto ball to the point that like I should have mentioned it. He should like his name should be he should have like a street named after him. Like I think Vince Carter did a lot for Toronto, like a lot. He should be way more celebrated in Toronto, like way more than he celebrated.
I know he's got a
We
couple
should give him the
courts. He's got
time.
a court, Jane and Wilner, and you see the
Oh,
DC.
good.
He made a court there, right? So
Yeah, he
it's
deserves he like we should be honoring him like Masai. Honor this guy, like he deserves it. He did a lot for Toronto.
definitely.
Any last thoughts on the pod? Anything else we want to talk about?
I just want to say one thing though, and this is off topic. There's certain players that deserve a statue that do not have a ring. And Allen Iverson and Philadelphia, I feel like he deserves his own statue. Philly.
Oh, 100%. 100%. You're right. You're right. He does. Um, like Steve Nash doesn't have a ring, but Phoenix should give that man a statue,
Yeah. Like there's certain
right?
guys that did not win that deserve a statue. And those two,
Yeah, Russell Westbrook in OKC, like we had mentioned, like he deserves a statue. Um, yeah,
Russell
CK.
Westbrook, to add on to that real quick, Russell Westbrook doesn't get the respect he deserves because he's the only NBA player that we all know is a works 110% all the
You
time.
never him and Giannis. I say him and Giannis. You never have to question their efforts.
Exactly. The
Never.
shots may not go down all the time, but the effort is there. And players like that was it reminds me of AI. Like he was
Yeah.
always go hard, right? So
Uh,
Kobe, like he was going hard. So guys with that mentality, that's all I gotta say about that. That's
uh,
my thoughts though, man.
uh. Okay, guys, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. If you like this praise of Vince Carter, make sure you comment, subscribe, like, do the whole shebang. That's the three podcasts for the week. We're back next week, probably with 1, 2 podcasts. We'll see. Talk more NBA. We're really close to the playoffs. It's gonna look good. We'll probably do some sort of maybe a drafting. We'll figure out what to do, but it's gonna be fun. This week at 4 YS for Mike. We will talk to you guys again. Peace.